The Los Angeles Dodgers have spent the last 2 years building something that baseball has never seen before. Back-to-back World Series titles. A payroll pushing the limits of financial logic. A roster stacked with Hall of Fame talent at nearly every position. A dynasty in full bloom. And yet right now, in the middle of spring training in Arizona, a quiet but seismic shift is happening inside that organization. One that involves 3 of the most beloved figures in the Dodgers clubhouse, a $150 million bombshell that has rewritten the team's identity, and a series of departures that have left the defending champions looking at themselves in the mirror and asking a question nobody expected them to be asking this early. Who are we without the people who made us who we are? Let's start with the player whose absence stings the most on a personal level. Miguel Rojas. For years, Rojas has been the quiet backbone of the Dodgers' winning culture. He is not the flashiest name on the roster. He does not generate the headlines that follow Shohei Ohtani wherever he walks. He does not carry the legacy weight of Freddie Freeman or the marketing power of Mookie Betts. But ask anyone inside that clubhouse, the coaches, the veteran players, the young prospects trying to find their footing in the big leagues, and every single one of them will tell you the same thing. When the Dodgers needed someone to hold the culture together in the middle of a long, grinding season, Rojas was always there. That is why his announcement hit the organization so differently than any other roster move this offseason. Rojas has confirmed that 2026 will be his final season as a professional baseball player. After more than a decade in the big leagues, the veteran utility man has decided to walk away from the game on his own terms. And while that news was expected by those close to the situation, Rojas had been signaling for months that his playing days were coming to an end. The timing of the official confirmation, combined with everything else happening inside the Dodgers organization this spring, gave it a weight that went far beyond a simple retirement announcement. Because Rojas is not just leaving the game. He is leaving the Dodgers. And the way he is leaving tells you something important about where this franchise is right now. Rojas delivered one of the most unforgettable moments of the 2025 World Series. A game-tying home run in the top of the 9th inning in Game 7 that kept the Dodgers' championship dream alive. He won a Gold Glove nomination. He played his role perfectly, every single night, in every situation asked of him. And now he is stepping away not because his body gave out or because a team stopped believing in him, but because a new chapter has begun. One that requires new faces, new energy, and an entirely restructured identity. An executive who has watched Rojas closely throughout his Dodgers tenure said simply, "When a player like that walks out the door, you do not replace what he brought. You just try to fill the space he left. And filling that space is a lot harder than it looks from the outside." Now comes the story that has truly rattled the Dodgers foundation this spring. Kiké Hernández. If Rojas was the quiet heart of this team, Kiké was the loud, irreplaceable soul. A player who has appeared in more playoff games as a Dodger than anyone in franchise history. A postseason performer who delivered when the lights were brightest, time and time again, across 9 seasons in Los Angeles. A utility man who played every position imaginable on the field, and pitched when the team needed it because Kiké Hernández has never once been asked to do something and said no. And yet here is the reality that the Dodgers organization is now forced to confront. Kiké Hernández is not on the opening day roster. He is not in Arizona competing for a spot. He is not even healthy enough to begin the 2026 season with his teammates. According to reports, Hernández revealed after the 2025 World Series that he had been playing through significant pain for the final months of the season. He pushed through every single postseason game, made extraordinary defensive plays, including the game-ending double play in Game 6 that is already being replayed on highlight reels across the internet, and sacrificed his body to help the Dodgers win their 2nd consecutive championship. But the cost of that sacrifice was enormous. Hernández is now recovering from surgery and is not expected to return to the field until May at the earliest. The Dodgers, meanwhile, have been making subtle but unmistakable roster moves that signal something important. They claimed infielder Ryan Fitzgerald off waivers from the Twins. They placed Kiké on the 60-day injured list. They have begun building depth in ways that teams only build depth when they are not entirely confident a familiar face is coming back in the role everyone expected. A source close to the situation put it this way: the surgery changed the equation. At 34 years old, Recovery timelines are not what they were at 26. The Dodgers love Kike. But love and patience have limits when you are chasing 3 straight World Series titles and every roster spot matters. The quiet truth that nobody in Los Angeles wants to say out loud is this. Kiké Hernández, the man who made Dodger Stadium feel like a home game in October, no matter where the team was playing, may never wear Dodger blue again as a full-time contributor. And the organization that benefits the most from his postseason magic is the same organization that may have already begun preparing for a future without him. And then there is the $150 million bombshell. The move that changed everything. The signing that reshuffled roles, reset expectations, and forced the Dodgers to confront a painful truth about some of their most loyal veterans. Kyle Tucker, one of the most complete outfielders in baseball. A player who has posted a .280 batting average, 30-plus home runs, and elite defensive metrics in multiple consecutive seasons. A player who was the most coveted free agent outfielder on the market this offseason. The Dodgers pursued Tucker aggressively and signed him to a deal that, when you factor in the total commitment, represents one of the largest investments in outfield talent in the history of the sport. And when Tucker arrived, the ripple effects were immediate and severe. Teoscar Hernández, who had signed a 3-year, $66 million contract with the Dodgers just 1 year ago. A deal he took at below market value because he wanted to be in Los Angeles, because he believed in what the Dodgers were building, because he told the world that for him, money was not the issue. Suddenly found himself not in right field where he had played exclusively last season, but being moved to left field to accommodate the new arrival. On paper, left field versus right field sounds like a minor adjustment. But for Hernández, it was anything but minor. According to sources inside the organization, Teoscar had conversations with Dodgers management about his role following Tucker's signing. He had spent the previous season playing right field exclusively, a position he preferred and had specifically requested when he re-signed. He had worked on his defense at that position. He had bought in fully to the vision the Dodgers presented to him. And then, in a single offseason transaction, that vision changed. What made the situation even more complicated was the trade speculation. Hernández's name surfaced repeatedly in trade discussions throughout the winter. Multiple teams, including the Kansas City Royals, were cited as clubs that had expressed interest. The Dodgers front office downplayed the rumors publicly. General manager Brandon Gomez and manager Dave Roberts both said Hernández was still very much part of the plan. But the very fact that his name was in trade conversations just 1 year into a 3-year deal he took at a discount was a signal that stung deeply. An analyst who covers the National League closely said, Teoscar Hernández turned down more money from other teams to stay in Los Angeles. He believed in the organization's commitment to him. When you sign a player that way and then immediately begin shopping him the next offseason, you are sending a message. And that message reaches every future free agent who considers signing with your team. Hernández has responded to all of it with the kind of determination that defines his character. He asked Dave Roberts for additional playing time this spring. He is attacking Cactus League games with urgency that goes beyond normal spring preparation. He understands as well as anyone that 2026 is the most important season of his time in Los Angeles. If he repeats the disappointing .247 average and .738 OPS from last season, the Dodgers will almost certainly let him walk at the end of the year and eat the remaining contract value rather than bring him back for 2027. But if he can recapture even a fraction of the 2024 version of himself, the All-Star, the Home Run Derby champion, the Silver Slugger winner who became one of the most beloved players in Los Angeles, then the entire conversation changes. The stakes could not be higher, and Hernández knows it. Roberts addressed the situation directly this week when he placed Hernández back in the starting lineup for a Cactus League game against the Cleveland Guardians. He confirmed that Hernández had come to him personally, asked for more reps, and shown the kind of professional accountability that makes managers believe in players even when the numbers say otherwise. Roberts said publicly that he hopes Hernández can get back to his 2024 form, and if he does, the Dodgers become even more dangerous than they already are. But here is what the $150 million bombshell of Kyle Tucker's arrival has truly exposed. The Dodgers have built something so large, so stacked with talent, That even beloved veterans who gave everything to this organization are being reshuffled out of their comfort zones or quietly shown the door to make room for the next wave of excellence. Rojas is walking into retirement. Kiké is recovering from surgery in an organization that has already begun preparing for life without him. Teoscar is fighting for his place in a lineup that was rebuilt around someone else. And all three of these things are happening simultaneously, in the same spring training, under the same desert sun in Arizona. There is something both impressive and uncomfortable about watching a dynasty operate this way. The Dodgers are not doing anything wrong by pursuing the best players available, by managing their roster with ruthless efficiency, by refusing to let sentiment override competitive logic. This is exactly what championship organizations are supposed to do. This is how you win 3 in a row. But the culture that carried this team through 2 consecutive World Series championships was not built by star power alone. It was built by players like Rojas and Kiké Hernández, who showed up every single day and gave the locker room something that no amount of money can manufacture: trust. Consistency. The belief that when everything goes sideways in October, there are people in that room who will not break. A veteran who has played alongside all 3 players said quietly, "You can sign all the stars in the world, but the guys who hold a championship team together are usually the ones nobody outside the building fully understands. When those guys leave, something changes. You do not always feel it in April. You feel it in September." The 2026 Dodgers are still the best team in baseball. Nobody in the sport seriously believes otherwise. Their rotation is elite. Their lineup is historic. Their bullpen has been retooled. And the ghost of 3 consecutive championships is fuel that will drive every player in that clubhouse through every difficult stretch of a 162-game season. But the departures of Rojas, the absence of Kiké, and the displacement of Teoscar Hernández have created something that the Dodgers have not had to deal with in a very long time. A question, not about talent, not about payroll, not about wins and losses on paper. A question about identity, about who this team is when the dust settles and the season becomes real, about whether the culture that created back-to-back championships can survive the transformation that $150 million in new talent and the exit of its most loyal veterans has set in motion. You can replace a bench player. You can move an outfielder to a different position. You can manage a transition with professionalism and respect. But you cannot manufacture what it took to build a dynasty. And right now, the Dodgers are learning, quietly, uncomfortably, and in full public view, exactly what it costs to keep one alive.